Coding and ciphers were used extensively in World War I. Anyone could intercept messages, but one only knew the contents of the message with a key. A good example of this was the British Naval Intelligence decoding of the Zimmermann telegram, which in turn brought the United States into the war. Russia used an overly complicated version of the Vinegar cipher. It was broken in just 3 days by an Austro-Hungarian crypto-analyst named Hermann Pokorny. In Russia, it was Ernst Federline who solved many German, Austrian, and British codes. During the Russian Revolution of 1917, he was recruited to Room 40 to crack codes for the British. Room 40 was formed in October 1914 to aid in the British crypto-analytical efforts. The Director of British Naval Intelligence gave German Alfred Ewing the Director of Naval Education. Ewing was adept at constructing puzzles for fun. Code breakers of Room 40 found it very easy to crack early German code as it was still very simple. Room 40 utilized wireless technology used by the German Navy to determine when submarines or minesweepers would announce their departure or even course coordinates. When the Room 40 team received a code book, they would have to work out about half of the average of 10,000 words per book before they could start making sense of any messages. But since the Germans were able to replace the codebook very quickly, it was essential that each new codebook was broken very quickly or before a new one was introduced. In Germany and Austria, they were mostly interested in intercepting Russian radio traffic. The ADF-GX and ADF-GVX field systems were a modified Polybius system with a single-order double columnar transmission. They also contained a frequent key change with letters that were optimized for Morse code. Room 40 was the team that deciphered the Zimmermann telegram. The message took cryptographers nearly a month to decode. It revealed German plans to begin unrestricted submarine warfare in the Atlantic. Germany planned alliances with Mexico and Japan in order to keep the USA occupied where it was instead of fighting in Europe. Once decoded, the British sent the contents to the American government, and shortly after, America declared war on Germany. In 1918, Room 40 intercepted communications that a significant group of German sailors had mutinied. This was soon followed by the German surrender, which ended the war. These victories helped establish cryptography as an essential tool of modern warfare. When the Germans were able to decipher all of the Allied forces' codes, a group of 19 Choctaw used their own language to transmit messages the Germans could never decipher. A captured German revealed that his side couldn't make any sense of the Choctaw language. American Indians and at least 5 other tribes used their native languages to transmit messages during World War I, but the Choctaws were the only tribe to invent a coded vocabulary especially for the war. The Choctaw Indians were not considered citizens of the United States, however they still chose to fight for what they considered to be their nation. The U.S. government had to turn to a culture that they had desperately tried to eradicate. The Choctaw are credited with bringing an earlier end to the war and saving hundreds of thousands of lives. Overall, coding and ciphering was a major contributing factor to the Allies' win of the war.